Good morning, good morning. Welcome. This is a reminder. Thanks for joining in and coming in. This is going to be an unusual one for me because I've just joined a new group, and because of what's happening today, I'm very, not so excited, but certainly passionate about this. So I'm just position the camera so I'm looking not so squinty at the screen. Hi, thanks for being here. This I'm doing is my contribution to World Anti-Troll Day, and I want to speak to it both from what to do and where I come from, and history of a few other things too. So thanks for joining me, and if you're coming in, if you're on the replay, just go ahead and start tapping the screen for hearts. I welcome that. And if you're new to my scope, please make sure you swipe right on the screen, down on the swipe right on the iPhone, down on the Droid, and tap on follow. And please share this on Twitter, and also we follow us on Periscope. Thanks for coming in, and thanks for joining me. I'm presuming a lot of people are going to be coming in. Thank you, Tasha, for that. I've got a feeling other people are joining in. This is an earlier scope than usual for me, because I usually do mine in the afternoons. Let me slow down a bit. I'm like, again, I'm getting excited. Let me start at the beginning with who I am first, so you understand who and why I do this. And I get to my passion for this particular topic and my audience as we go through. My name is Barry Selby, as you can tell by my Periscope handle, as is all my social media, and my website as well. I am a relationship and coaching expert. My passion is serving the feminine, so this is going to come up a lot because I've watched a lot of my female friends doing scopes and having trolls hitting them big time, and it's painful to watch. So I'm passionate about this topic, and I want to speak about it from my own perspective as well, and how you can help yourself through this journey. So my name is Barry Selby. I'm known as the heartbreak repair specialist, and with my clients particularly, I help them coach, support, and love their lives and attract what they want in relationships. Excuse me. I'll be back on the line in a second. Okay. That's better. Again, I am a #1 best-selling author. This is my book, 50 Ways to Love Your Lover, which is a book on relationships, 50 Principles on Amazon. It's on Kindle, and it's on my website as an ebook as well. So, this conversation is about trolls. And for me, the layer below that, because trolls aren't that big a deal ultimately, it's the bullying behind it, or bullying in parallel to it, that is really the key concern or question or challenge. So, people still joining in, so I'm going to hold off on the deeper stuff right now, but we'll give you some overview topics to think about before we get in. So when you think about trolls, what do you think about? And bullying for the same thing, cyberbullying or physical bullying. Did you experience that in your own lives? I'm going to speak about my own experience with that. Excuse me. And I'll get to some solutions as well, but I want to see if other people are joining in before we get going too far. Because friends of mine said they're joining in after they finish their scopes, and since it's only 3 minutes into my scope, I want to give them time to join in before I get going. So please bear with me, be patient. Again, if you're here for the first time and you want to follow my stuff, which I hope you will, just please swipe right on the iPhone, swipe down on the Droid, tap on follow. And if you'd like to invite your friends on, your followers on Periscope, and also your Twitter followers, I'd appreciate that too. I scope daily, by the way, on 2 main topics. One of them is our love scope, about love and relationships, about how to be more effective, successful, and happy in your love life. I also do a Perry tip scope pretty much every day, which is about Periscope. I've been an avid user of Periscope for about since June, July, and I don't have the counts, the heart counts and the follow counts that some people do. Thank you. I don't have the massive audience that some of the people on Periscope do, because I'm more about content than about quantity, and so my work is about the quality. And so the Perry tips I teach is how to use Periscope more effectively, and some of the keys, tips, surprises, and things you can do with Periscope. And I have a couple of those today. Again, so a love scope will be coming up later on today, and a Perry tips scope will be coming up as well. So that's my usual daily routine. This, however, is a special scope in honor of, in celebration of, in support of the Bopo tribe. I literally just joined it this morning because I've been hearing about it for a while, and I've also been seeing the posts and hashtags around on Facebook, Twitter, and on Periscope about WATD, World Anti-Troll Day, and I wanted to speak to that. I'll say this: I'm not a fan of trolls, and I'm definitely not a fan of bullying, and I think I'm just getting started because people are still coming in. You have a lot. Neither do you have a lot of people coming to our scope because you're boring. Well, I'll get to that in a moment. So hold that thought and ask me a question later on. So I want to get my first teaching point out the way, and then we can get to the Q&A stuff, because I have answers for you about that question, or I should say suggestions for your dilemma, to put it that way. Absolutely. in case you didn't recognize in my voice, I have an English accent. That's where I'm from originally. I lived in the States for over 30 years. Back in England when I was growing up, and I spoke about this actually on Tuesday at a big event, there was a premiere of Oprah's new movie series called Belief. And I got to share afterwards. Hi from Cali. I'm in Cali too, in Los Angeles, in fact. So, sorry, I'm seeing who people are so I can actually call them by name versus Patricia. Hi. I got to share about my upbringing, and I was raised Jewish. And in England, at the time I was being raised, it wasn't, in fact, I was probably at the end of the Jewish immigration into England. I'll give you some context to explain where I'm going in a minute. We didn't have a large community of Jewish people where I lived. I lived outside of London. In central London was more of it. And at my school, there were maybe a dozen Jewish kids out of 700 people, 700 students at the school, which meant we were very much in our minority. Even though our skin color wasn't any different, basically, we got singled out. At least certainly I did. So just put it in simple terms, I was bullied for about 4 or 5 years at school during my teens, and it sucked. To be blunt about it, it wasn't fun. Now, I can speak now about the benefits looking back and all the healing, but at the time it was a royal pain, and so I really feel for those people who've been bullied, who are being bullied, and in particular as well for those who are dealing with trolls now, because that's a lightweight version of that. I mean, I was talking about being physically beaten up. Thankfully online it's not quite as physical, but it's still emotionally troubling and challenging. So I learned some things along the way though that helped me. And one of those things to recognize that what was going on, now again, this is hindsight. I'm not saying it happens in the middle of this, because I'm not speaking, I was this advanced or spiritually aware when I was in my teens. However, I was definitely in a place, and thank you for the hearts, by the way, thanks for tapping away, I appreciate that. I definitely got the realization after the fact that my emotional makeup was healthier and more, I'm saying more holistic. No, that's not what I'm useful. I had more compassion for myself and other people because of what I went through. So as weird as it sounds, I was actually grateful in some ways to those bullies back in my school years, because it changed my perspective on the world. It opened me up to a whole new level of study and learning, because the thing about it is, and this is the thing I'll talk about as a global thing, there's Antonio, nice to have you join me. So there's going to be people joining different groups I'm part of, so it's nice to recognize familiar Periscope handles. So a global thing I'll talk about is, and this is I'll get back to trolling in a minute, but I want to talk about some big stuff in the world, just so you get a context of this. Again, so I was bullied at school, and I wasn't any different color skin than my fellow students at school. The thing about us white male folks is we are the only population, let me context to this. Every minority has been labeled, has been told that they aren't perfect, they're not good enough, or something like that over the years. It's only the straight white male who's been thought of as being perfect, which is a joke. But that's kind of what's happening in society. You know, the commercials, the marketing, the media, always putting it towards straight white men were okay. Everybody else, women, gay, minorities, other cultures, other religions, were less than, therefore needed to work harder to be perfect. It was kind of the unspoken rules in the world, as effed up as that is. So I got that experience going through school, being a Jewish outcast, and it was because of the fact that I didn't step up, and frankly what happened was I simply didn't turn around and strike back when somebody struck me at the beginning of my high school years, and that led to bullying, until one incident, which I might get to later on, not key right now, that turned things around. But it took me 4.5 years to get that. So bullying sucks. I've been there, been through it. It's not fun. It's painful. So a lot of compassion for those who've been through suffering or victimization of some sort or other, and I'm very much encouraging my clients and anybody I work with to step up into their wholeness. Trolls. Let's get to that, since that's the focus for today, which aren't much different, but I see the same thread. See, what I learned was that bullies, as strange as it's going to sound like this, are weaker than the victims. Just sit with that one for a moment. Bullies are usually acting out of some sort of reactivity to their own stuff. They don't have control. They don't have balance in their lives. They're probably victimized themselves by their family, by their own social group. So they're reacting to try and prey on somebody weaker than themselves so they can feel better, which is very temporary, which is why they keep doing it, and totally ineffective. Us who have been victimized, for some people, yeah, it's hard to do, and I know I've read enough articles and seen enough people, students or adults, commit suicide because it's so painful for them. So I'm not saying it's easy, but for those of us who are survivors of that, we tend to have a bigger space in our hearts for compassion, for ourselves or for other people. Trolls are no different than bullies in that sense. When trolls show up in your profile, in your Periscope, particularly because we're talking about this instance, this small avenue in Periscope, it doesn't take much to get a Periscope handle. You need to sign in to get a Twitter account, so you need an email address, Twitter account, Periscope, and the app. That's all it takes. So there's no qualification requirement. So anybody can be on Twitter, and then anybody can be on Periscope. So people trolling is like you can't stop them really. All you can do is deal with them. And trolls, when they're on your Periscope profile, and if I'm watching your Periscope profile and you're being harassed by a troll, I'm getting affected by it too. So be aware of the fact if you are doing a Periscope broadcast and someone's trolling on yours. There you are, Deborah. I was wondering when you get here. you went long in your scope, I think. So I covered quite a bit of territory already, but I want to get to the thing about trolls, and I'll go back and recover some other things too. The thing with trolls when they're on your scope, they're basically usually a temporary account that's not going to last long. It doesn't usually have a decent name on it. It's some like, JB83726 or something like that. If they have a real name, that won't last long, because if they get blocked enough times, they get dropped, period. But the thing about trolls is they will just show up to harass. But they're harassing because they don't get what they want. It's not about you, unless it's a thing where they think they can get something from you. So this is the key. When trolls get into your profile, into your Periscope, start making negative, nasty, abusive, painful comments, the less you react to them, the less they get. Because what they want is a reaction. They want to be noticed. So if you react to them and going, oh shit, oh crap, this to me, then they're going, great, they noticed me. It's a very childlike response, because that's all they are, is kids in adult bodies, or at least maybe. Some of them may be 12 years old. You don't know, because trolls are unidentifiable because they don't have anything on the profiles yet. So dealing with them comes down to this: centered, neutral response. One, definitely block them, because if they'll keep going, which means that the people watching your scope are going to be distracted by it as well. So for their benefit as well as your own, block them as soon as you can. If they only pass a comment once and they don't do it again, afterwards in the replay, you can go ahead and block them there. So you've always got a second chance to block trolls after the fact. That's good to know. Second thing is, address them. Now, yes, I'm a guy. I'm not a girl with cleavage or visibility, so they can say things like "show your boobs," stuff like that. Although one of my friends jokes with that. That's good. There's weird banter that way. But I've gotten trolls on my scripts a lot. Because like, what am I talking about? Or that they start swearing and stuff, and it's like, I don't understand why. Yes, they throw it off when you block them without saying a word. That's true. You can do that too. But bottom line is, I've been getting to a point now, especially when someone puts something in that is even slightly articulate, I'll give them a warning. I'm saying it's going to be 2 strikes. First strike, this is a warning. You stay focused, or you leave, or I'll boot you out the next time you do it. And I'm doing it from places of not sternness, but of clarity and also decisiveness. Because the thing about it is, I'm getting more centered because of it. So there's an actual benefit of the trolls. It gets me back on track. Now, the challenge is, if I'm trying to teach a topic that's sensitive, I might get knocked off of my center for it for a moment. But the deal is, I want to make sure the troll gets to communication, because just blocking them is good too, if you need to, and absolutely do it. But if they say something negative, or more than just, an F word, or shows your boobs type stuff, they do something that has any level of anti-something in it, I give them one warning, just to see what happens, because in a couple of cases, people have actually wised up or left the scope, so I don't need to block them. But it shows my audience a way to present and talk to them in a way that is stronger. And it's an option. I'm not saying it's the right one, it's just an option. So back to the bullying thing for a minute, because there's a lot of stuff with cyberbullying going on right now. And as I mentioned earlier in my scope, for Deborah and those people who joined in afterwards, I took my own journey. Please follow me. I've got to lay down. My aim is meant to be fatigue. Okay, I'll do the replay, because these things move too quickly, and I want to make sure I get to stay on topic. But thank you for the request, and thanks for following me. Bullying is something that is prevalent in this world. I mean, countries are doing it to each other. Look at what's happening in Syria right now with America and Russia. Bullying is not something that is just minor and just between people. It's a global phenomenon. And 99 times out of 100 in the bullying of personal bullying, the person bullying is in a weaker place than the person being bullied, as bizarre as that sounds. The same thing is true with trolls. Trolls are on your Periscope because they want to be noticed. And they're jealous because you're the one doing the scope and you're already being noticed. So they're like, hey, that's not fair, and they want to get upset and they want to deal with this stuff. And it really is their cry for help. So yes, blocking them is good for you, for your scope, but sometimes if you have the, no, this is not saying you should do this, but if you have the mastery of your own space, so you don't get knocked off track easily, and someone says something crappy at you, if you give them a warning, it is their cry for help, it's true. If you are willing to entertain one response by saying, this is your first warning, second time you're out, please straighten up your language, if you want to participate, stay on the scope, and you want to listen, that's great. If you don't want to do anything constructive, please leave. It gives them the choice to leave. Now, sometimes it doesn't work, it happens, in which case, block, they're done. And the good thing is with Periscope, you can do it pretty easily by tapping on the comment. Up comes a little window, and one of the lines is block user. Done. Out of the way. And again, on the replay, you can do it there. The second thing is, though, sometimes they do, in fact, straighten up. Because they were looking for somewhere to feel like they could be heard. And if I hear them by speaking back to them directly, sometimes that sparks something in them. I'm totally willing to have somebody heal through my support, both in my coaching, but also in talking to a troll on Periscope. Why not? So it's an experiment in a way. And the thing about trolls, and that's to be honest, the World Anti-Troll Day, I love the idea of it, but the languaging's a bit iffy too, because it's the anti-troll. Well, it's more about can we heal and can we remove the troll mindset. That would be kind of ideal. Now it's a lot longer hashtag than WATD, but it's a work. So pro-love, exactly, Deborah. You and I speak the same language on this. So for me, the conversation is really coming back to how do we stand in our truth? Ian, good to have you, sir. My friend from Paris, France. The James Bond fetish. Good to have you, Ian. So this comes back to really about improving our own scopes, because when we have trolls, good afternoon, with trolls in our scopes, troll your friends in a friendly way, just kidding. Well, actually, funny thing you say that, Antonio. There are two friends of mine, I'm part of the Perry 10K group, and two of my friends in England, Kevin and Garth, I'll call them out here because we talk about this all the time. We have a lot of banter back and forth, which is almost like trolling, except it's intentional banter and messing with each other because we're friends. And we're only friends through Periscope, but we have that familiarity already built in, so it makes it easy. So, but trolling is when somebody who's totally random comes up and says something negative that's an attack at your character, at your looks, at your message, at anything. And they do it without any distinction, and it's painful. But usually if you're sensitive, and that's the thing, a lot of us who do scopes are not just boldly going out scoping, we're actually kind of sensitive because we're stretching to a new area. So it's risking for us. And as you're trolling an art, right? Yeah, right, Ian, that was funny to say that. But the thing about being on Periscope is we're stretching ourselves into a new video arena. So a troll can feel like they have more attack leverage because you're not actually most comfortable, convenient, and safe space on here. So when someone attacks you, you may feel more reactive to that. So one, you can learn from that. And two, you can be more responsible for how you deal with them that supports you, doesn't support them. Because if you react to them, if you get upset by them, they win. Which is not what this is about. And it's not about winning or losing, it's about being straight and true to your message, because it's your Periscope. When you're broadcasting, it's about you being visible and sharing your content. At least I hope you are. As I said at the beginning, early on, my message is not so much about quantity, it's about quality, it's about content. So my list of my number of followers and my number of hearts isn't high as some of the guys who are the major players in Periscope, but for me it's about the quality of my message. Am I teaching something of value to my audience that you can watch now or later on Catch or replay on Periscope? And if I have done that, I've succeeded. So I'm very much about that happening. You only troll when Ray's online? Yeah, well, Antonio, Ray and I are another group of Perry newbies, and Ray is another character that we play with. He's up in Seattle, yeah, West Coast. So, well, there's trolling that is just the blatant unknown person showing in your Periscope and just knocking at you to try and make you feel bad. But there's also the troll that, well, there's also trolling in terms of, in quotes, which is really your friends having jabs at you for fun because you do that for each other. But it's always done in jest, and it's different. And that's the thing. It's the recognition that there's a difference. And truthfully, is your friends won't be trolling you; they're just jabbing at you, which is different energetically. I want to add one more piece to this. I think I mentioned this in my title. I can't remember if I did or not. For those of you who know me, those of you who don't, I'll just say it now. I'm a passionate champion for the feminine in women. That's my work, it's my mission, it's my coaching about relationships and about everything in life. I am being guided to speak in front of women's conferences about this too. Exactly. That's exactly, Ian. Yeah. So good is friendly jokes and supportive, bad is dumb comments that are offensive. Right. Did you see the FBI caught the scope troll threatening? Is that threatening lies? I didn't catch that. Sorry, say that again, Antonio. I didn't catch what you said there. But I think if that's what you think, I didn't see it yet. So I mean, maybe it's an article online I can look up, or post it in the Paranubius group. It'd be good for us to see it. So just a quick add on this piece about my work, because to be honest, most trolling happens towards the women, and women are the minority of scopers right now. I believe from what someone said, the statistics are basically around a 60 or 70% male scoping users or scopers, and about 30 to 40% female scopers, women scopers. So there are less women than men scoping, which is kind of sad because women have a much bigger reason to speak right now, and I'm very passionate about supporting that. It's my work. So when trolls attack them and scare them off Periscope, we all lose. So in my work and my coaching, and I said I am passionate about supporting women in relationship, but also in life and inspiration and living their authentic lives. Many of the men are using female names. Do you mean as in Periscope handles? When there's, I don't even mean by trolls or just general users. I'm not sure the context of that question, so feel free to explain more. So because of what I do and what I'm about in my work, I'm very passionate about women being honored and respected in the world, period. Especially in Periscope, because I see women doing Periscopes where they're stretching way beyond their comfort zones to share their heart's message and to share the healing of their own journey. And I'm personally passionate about them having a safe space to do it. And with the trolls out there, Periscope can look pretty dangerous because people can attack your character. Or trolls using female names to get accepted on female scopes. That's not cool. But again, trolls are going to do whatever they do to get noticed. So it comes back to what I said earlier, which is about treating trolls as what they are, cries for help. So it's not, again, it's never about you as a scoper. So for women, if you're watching this, please remember, when trolls attack you on Periscope, it isn't about you, as weird as it sounds. It's about them. Their lack of self-esteem, their lack of self-approval, their lack of self-respect makes them lash out to make somebody else feel as bad as they do, except you don't have to. So women in particular, I'm telling you this one, you have to look at who they follow, and it's basically all one sex without many clothes. It is a troll. Okay? Well, that's the thing. There are plenty of people scoping out there, and women scoping as well, who are basically like showing us a flesh to be noticed. And that's how they get their heart count and their follow count up to massive numbers, but they're not teaching anything of quality rather. So if that's the case, trolls can go follow them, it's fine, because the people like women like that don't seem to care who's following them. But I'm talking about particularly the women I follow and support and serve in Periscope land as well as in the world, have a message to teach of value, of impact, and of life-changing quality. They're the women I want to support because they're the ones that can be most impacted negatively by trolls if they don't learn how to deal with them. So this message is to them, primarily more than anybody else. So I've been attacked by trolls too in Periscope, and as a guy, it's kind of weird, frankly. But it's also, I've been through that before, and I'm not going to give myself room to feel sorry for myself about what they're doing, because it's about them, not me, and I've learned this. And to be honest, I've had 30 years of studying this in the arena of personal growth and human development, so I'm kind of past this point. But many people out there scoping for the first time, a lot of women I see scoping, haven't had a lot of background in personal growth and seminars and teachings and those sort of things, so they can be really knocked off track by those people. A lot of the trolls they've profiled are 12 years to 27, yeah, and they're about 5 years old mentality-wise, the way they act. And that's the thing. So with Periscope, it's a new avenue for trolls to go out and play, and we are their playground. Your choice is do you let them come out and play in your playground with no rules and no boundaries, or do you simply say, here's the rules? If you're in my scope and you throw insults out and you want to troll, you get one warning. If you don't shape up, you ship out. And if you don't ship out, I'll force you out. And that level of authority is kind of what's required with Periscope, because we're taking dominion in a new arena. All of us who are scoping. And again, back to I spoke about this in a previous scope, about the numbers. The numbers of people periscoping, broadcasting, is very small population-wise. There's something around 20 million downloads of this app. The most frustrating are the teen girls that welcome because they get attention hunt. That's the thing. Some of the people out on Periscope, and there are a few people doing this, are on Periscope to be noticed at whatever the price, at whatever the language, and whatever the audience. That's their choice. But as I said, I'm really passionate about supporting Periscopers, men and women, who have content, who are teaching and inspiring and changing the world, which is what I do. They're the ones I want to make sure are informed about how to deal with trolls, to deal with bullies, how to deal with Periscope in a way that is supportive of their message, of their mission, of their self-support. That's why I do a Peri Tips every day. A Periscope about love and tips about how to do things. These men attacking the teens, references these kids don't even understand. And the funny thing about that is, when they don't understand it, it doesn't impact them, which is the really bizarre part about this. Again, it's about the person trolling, not the person who's being trolled. Well, okay, I don't want to get into this too much because I'm not watching many Periscopes from teens, so I don't know much about this arena. But knowing about kids and teenagers in life, in real life, as they say, there are people out in the world who don't have integrity in who they are, who don't know who they are, and are reactive to their own dysfunction, and will attack anybody else because they want to, because it feels, for somebody, it feels like it either relieves the pain in their own head, or it somehow makes them feel fed some way temporarily. There are people, now I'm going to drop into this very quickly, but I want to talk about it here because this is a whole other topic I've done on Periscope before: narcissism. There are people in the adult world, adults, I mean, men and women, who are subject to, is the wrong word, but who are basically expressing a narcissistic lifestyle. And so they will attack other people to make themselves feel better. And so it can start as a teenager or as a young kid and mature into that as adult behavior. It's still a dysfunction, it's still not right. But that's how far it can go. Now, this wasn't meant to be this deep in the troll, into about the anti-troll day thing, but that's part of the conversation too. But I'm not going to speak about it here because that's a much bigger conversation, and there's only a few people live right now. So I want to summarize this very quickly and tie up a neat bow, as it were. This is my contribution to the Bopo Tribe Anti-Troll Day, also World Anti-Troll Day message about trolls. To recap simply, your Periscope is your territory. When you're broadcasting, you get to share your message, your content, your value with the audience. If somebody pops into your scope, hang on, I find so many bad trolls on more scopes that have map location on. I might give exact locations. Yeah, well, that's another conversation about locations. And I've done a scope of that one last week, and I'm going to get another one today. We'll see. Yeah, turn location off when you're periscoping for the first few times, if you're a woman especially, because it does tend to find you get located more easily if you have the location turned on. So yes, so back to this summary. Your scope is your territory, your room, your space. When you are leading the room, your Periscope, for your audience, take ownership of it. If you get someone coming to your room who is abusive, you can boot them. And again, it's not about you, it's about them. So a troll comes into your room, you're welcome, glad I could help. Someone comes into your room, do what you need to do. If you need to block comments, period, so you can get through your scope, you can do that. A friend of mine just talked about that this morning. Drani mentioned about you can just do block comments, period, so you can just do your scope, you're just doing a message. If you're interacting, you need to have the comments open, and if you get a troll in amongst them, just tap on the comment and block them. The only interaction you can give them is a warning. You don't want to react to them, because if you react to them, they win. If you collapse because of what they say, they win. And that's what they came for, is to feed on the energy of control. Your stretching as a periscoper is to remember that you are here to share your message with the 90% of people who are watching your scope for value. And the 1%, 10% of people who are trolling, they don't get the right, they don't have the right, they don't get the room to play, and they don't come into your room with any ability to take control of it. And so you don't give them control. Boot them out the room, give them a chance if you want to, like I do. I say, one day, just strike one, shape up or ship out, or kick them out. But with trolls, it's your space, not theirs. So as a periscoper, the person broadcasting, Remember, it's your room. You do what you want with it. Take control. Lead on. Hello from France. Another one from France. Ian was on here early. He's in Paris. I love this international crowd. That's another thing about Periscope. It's a great place to meet people who are good people. The trolls are a small minority. So that's what I really want to say. I mean, if you missed the scope, I've done about half an hour on this, about this conversation going through quite a bit of spectrum. But this was in honor of Bopo Tribe and the World Anti-Troll Day. And I'm doing 2 scopes later on today on my love and relationships Periscope called Love Scope. I'm also doing my Peri Tips scope today, and I may bias them both towards the same topic too. Please make sure that if you haven't already followed me, please swipe right on the iPhone, down on the Droid, and tap follow. And also share the replay and share this with your followers and friends on Periscope and on Twitter. That was it. Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting your followers. This scope, basically, I'm actually wrapping it up because I've covered the territory now and spoken about it half an hour. I need to get going because I've got a Sherathon I'm supposed to be on very shortly, and I'll make sure I'm offline so I can join them in their scope today. So I think that's it. Any questions or thoughts before I sign off? You too, have a great day. Any other questions or thoughts as I wrap up today's scope? Yes, no, maybe, sort of, kind of. I think we're quiet. Okay. So thank you for watching me again. If you're not following me already on Periscope, please make sure you swipe right on the iPhone, swipe down on the Droid. I will, already am. I hope you do too. Have a wonderful day. Swipe right on the iPhone, down on the Droid, and tap follow. And I'll be back on later on today with a couple more scopes about love and relationships and about Peri Tips. All right? Thanks a lot. I will see you soon. Oh, absolutely, my pleasure. I want to post this replay in the Bopo Tribe's Facebook group if there's room. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll be back on again later.